we've got the
because I'm
three
really tight with
legends
Edwin,
of bass
but I don't
fishing
know
here
if
at the
I'll see him the
Bassmaster
next day
Classic.
too.
We've got
Maybe I can
Jimmy
get him
Houston,
excited. I'll try to get
Roland
him
Martin,
excited.
and Bill Dance. Jimmy, hey, we're going to start with you. Bill, he's still over here politicking. You can't do nothing with him. You can't go anywhere. So uh, I'm going to start out with this right here. All right. There are probably 100, 150 professional anglers here, all kind of companies here, all kind of marketing media companies. You three, in my opinion, everybody's opinion, y'all set the standard. We're all here making a living, enjoying what we do, and you guys started it all. How did that feel early on, Jimmy? I mean, did that feel like a big risk you were taking? Tell me about getting started in the sport.
Well, actually, when the three of us began fishing tournaments, is when tournaments very first started. I fished the second BASS tournament they ever had at Eufaula, Alabama. Actually, Bill Dance was in that tournament also. I think Roland Martin started just shortly thereafter, not too long after that. But we were simply out there having fun. We wanted to have a great time. We're bass fishermen, and our passion is going out there catching bass. And we never imagined something like what has happened today, and events like this, and so many people making so much money. And one of the reasons that I continue to play on the top level in bass fishing is because the sport's really been good to us. So you're looking at three guys right here that really and truly and still care nothing about other than going out there and having fun catching bass. That's what we want to do, and we try to pay the sport back. And I know that Bill and Roland, they can still catch them, although some of y'all might have a hard time believing that. These guys are still really, really good.
Hey, if these three get into it up here, y'all just don't panic. It's going to be okay, I promise.
Well,
Bill,
we didn't,
your rebuttal.
Well, back in those days, we didn't compete for the money. It was just Hey, entry fee was $100, and if you won the tournament, I think you won what, $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah.
But we were competitive, and as Americans, we're just a competitive breed.
Right.
Whether we sit and watch Auburn play, or Alabama, or South Carolina, the Gamecocks play the Volunteers, or the Razorbacks, or the
We got any
Crimson
Clemson fans here?
Yeah,
all right.
I figured I'd hear some of them crowing. But anyway, we would, we're just a competitive breed. If we watch South Carolina play Tennessee, I'll bet you a Coca-Cola he misses a field goal, or I'll bet he makes a field goal. Whether we sell automobiles, we want to make the $1 Million Club, or we sell real estate. We're just a competitive breed. And we compete. We just love to compete. And to compete against Mother Nature and her creatures is a special thing. So in those tournaments, we were competing against bass, and it was just, and each other.
Right.
And that was just something very, very special. So it wasn't the money. It was just I wanted to beat Roland Morgan here, or Martin, whatever his name is.
Roland Morgan.
And Jimmy. And I'll never forget that tournament at Lake Eufaula. Something I wanted to do, and that body of water was just a special body of water because it produced gigantic bass. And I remember coming in with a stringer of fish. A goal that I wanted to do was catch
81 pounds. You had 81 pounds.
81 pounds. Put the mic up where so people can hear you.
Pounds.
Now, what did you say, Roland?
You had 81 pounds. I saw you. You were my hero.
Thank you.
I hadn't fished a tournament.
I know your memory's not good. That was the following year when he caught 81 pounds.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me tell you, that
you were a little
is
boy then.
hilarious.
I was a
remember.
little boy.
I've got a picture.
Let me tell you, in that tournament, the first day, Bill Dance catches like one fish. The second day, Bill Dance catches like 3. The third day, he caught like 55 pounds.
You weren't at that tournament. You weren't at that tournament.
I led that tournament the first day with 52 pounds and 8 ounces. You got to realize these guys can't bibber like they used to.
Hey,
go ahead, Mr. Bill.
I've got to somehow play referee
Well, that was the
here.
first. You're talking about the first tournament. I'm talking about the tournament I went to.
Yeah.
And I saw you come in with 81 pounds.
Yeah, Rip Nunnery won that tournament with 90-something pounds.
194 pounds.
Yeah.
And
then Blake won the second one.
Hey, I'm impossibly going to try to keep us on course here.
Blake
Blake
won
Honeycutt
the second
won
one.
Hey,
Blake
I
won
tell you
the
what
second
else.
Second one.
Hey,
guys,
Timmy is a student of the game. Blake
Blake
Honeycutt won the
Honeycutt,
tournament in
second.
1969.
here's some more info.
That's the one I'm talking
you can. We're at the Bass
He's getting
Masters
senile in
Classic.
his old age.
Senile. This, you go ask the pro anglers, what title do you want to win the most? And they're all going to tell you Angler of the Year. This is pretty cool. We got 3, we got 9, and 2, correct? So that's 12, 14 Angler of the Year sitting right here on this couch.
My wife won 7. Can I count those? My wife won 7 Bass-Gal Anglers a year.
Hey,
Can I count those?
Yeah, we're going to count
Okay, I'm up
Chris's.
with Roland then at 9.
Hey, I love it. Hey, I want to come to our Facebook fans right here, and I want to tell you guys, we come in and ask some questions. This is your chance. We're going to take some questions from these guys here in just a little bit. So bring them on. We're getting them right here as they come in. Tell us where you're from. We've got all over global. We had stuff from Costa Rica yesterday, all over. So some really neat stuff. So
Hey,
come
Tim,
here.
we missed something.
All right.
They talked about their love of competition. There was another factor we're not talking about,
All right.
and that was Ray Scott.
Ray Scott.
Now,
yes.
Ray Scott was a factor because he brainwashed me. I mean, I came
He
to the first
brainwashed us
tournament
all.
in '69, and he had me fork out $100 right off the bat for becoming a life member. I became the second life member.
Yeah.
He talked me into the thing. I mean, he talked me into competition in general. If
Yeah.
it weren't for Ray Scott,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be here.
Hey, I think Roland's
We
is
would not
hot on
be
his ear. So I think you're good there. Hey,
Why don't I get my own microphones? Why is he
I don't have a
taking my... You don't need a microphone. You have a headset
Jimmy's
on.
over here shaking. Hey, while we're waiting, Gene, have we got a question from the audience here? All right.
Sure. I'm not sure if I'm on, but
Yeah,
I do.
we got you.
Tim,
have
I just
your own
want to let you
microphone.
know that there's actually
I got a microphone.
15 Angler of the Year champions on that up on that stage. Timmy Horton's an Angler of the Year champion
Yeah.
as well,
Hey,
folks.
man,
Let's
give
not
me-
forget
Jimmy.
that.
give me a hand. Yes, sir, he is.
Jimmy Horton won it in his rookie year.
He did his rookie year.
That was a rookie year he won the
The
triangle.
Hurricane.
Th-
Hey,
there-
Tim, we've got a bunch of questions. I just want to let you know, as I'm observing up there, I'm not sure if you're keeping things under control or if these guys are just starting to warm up here.
They're having a big time.
But we've got some questions for you. What is your name?
Becca,
Becca, and where are you from?
Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Great, and who is your question for?
Mr. Bill Dance.
Bill Dance, and what would you like to ask Bill?
Just wondering, why do you kiss if most, if not all the fish that you catch, why do you kiss them before you release them?
All right, the question is.
I think that's for Jimmy.
Okay.
I
all
think
right.
that's for Jimmy.
Jimmy,
That's okay.
The question is, why do you kiss most of the fish that you catch?
Well, first of all, the most of the fish I catch are larger fish, so they're female fish. I only kiss the females. I do not kiss the male fish. I'm not on the pink team, and I don't kiss the male fish at all. But I kiss them because I like it and they like it. And if you watch, they'll wiggle their little tails, and that's just a sign of satisfaction.
Wait,
I
let's
gotta
go
tell
on to
you.
the next question. Hey, Gene, find us another one, and we'll come back here in just a second. Bill, you've been wanting to say something, so let's. I think you got cut off
I'm going to
there.
ask a question. You got a question? And if I can't answer it, the
Oh, okay,
echo
Bill.
in the
Hey,
cave.
have we got one for Bill?
Morgan can-
Yeah, we got one for Bill. Who wants a question for Bill? Okay, and what is your name?
Stephen Andrews,
And Stephen, where are you from?
North Carolina.
Great. What did you want to ask Bill?
What is your favorite and worst blooper?
Hey, this is good, Bill. Your favorite and worst blooper. And guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, go Google Bill Dance bloopers. It's some of the biggest sellers. It's hilarious, I'm telling you. Go ahead, Bill.
I would say my favorite probably is when that jib flew back and hit me in the side of the head and knocked me for a flip when I had the tackle box. When the jib came back with the camera, with a big Sony 3 CCD camera, swung back and hit me in the side of the head and knocked me completely over the prop and everything we had set up. And the worst, probably there were 3 of them when we drowned those big Sony cameras.
Yeah.
When Timmy fell off, when the bluff
Yeah.
crumbled and he fell off the bluff. When Pete tripped and fell over the camera, he could have broken his neck when the way he fell and rolled down on top of his and fell off the bank. And then
And
when
lost that $200 camera too.
1995.
Oh,
about a
$1995. I got it.
$68,000.
Wow.
But and then when I backed up and hit him and he fell back fell
Yeah.
out in the lake.
My favorite is when he's fighting that trolling motor. That trolling motor just bouncing all over the place and
Oh,
going
that was a
everywhere.
funny one, yeah.
That's pretty good. Hey, we got a question here from Facebook, and I'm going to let all three of you answer this. This is Lisa. Lisa, thanks for sending your questions in. Guys, continue to send them in. We're going to be here for a few more minutes, good little while. Lisa wants to know, and Bill, we'll start with you. We'll work down. What do you do to relax in your downtime? What do you do at home in Tennessee?
What I do to relax?
Yep.
I watch.
You need
I
a
like to
simpler
watch.
question.
I like to watch movies.
Like to watch movies?
Yeah, and I like to. I like to bush hog.
Like to work on the farm, bush hog
Yeah,
a
I
little
do
bit?
that. I like to do that a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
There's something
I
therapeutic about
like,
mowing. I don't know what
I
it
like
is.
to go bluegill fishing. I like to go catfishing on the Mississippi River. I do a lot of that.
Can I tell the story real quick of building the Memphis Pyramid store? Tell that about you and Johnny being out catfishing. This is one of my favorite stories.
The what?
When you and Johnny were out catfishing, trying to decide to bring the pyramid, the Bass Pro store to the pyramid.
Well,
I
I'll tell
love
you
that.
real quick. We were going to Sevierville, Tennessee to open a store. And I got on the plane, and the president of Bass Pro, Jim Hagel, said, we've got a major decision. The pyramid is unoccupied, and it's been that way for several years. And we're thinking about putting a Bass Pro in the pyramid in Memphis. And we need you to make a decision whether we do this or not. And I looked at Johnny. I said, is he serious? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, y'all are crazy. I said, I'm not going to make that
A
decision.
little bit of pressure. Yeah.
And I said, that's a $300,000 to $400,000 decision. I'm not going to make that decision. Well, anyway, he said,
$3 or $4
well, you
million,
think about it.
yeah.
And we went on to Sevierville and opened the store. And then we were going down to Leeds, Alabama, and look at a site for a possibility to open a store there. And then flying on down to Destin to look at a groundbreaking there. And then to Pearl, Mississippi for a store opening there. And all the way on this 2-day trip, as we were flying along,
This is good, y'all. This is awesome.
Hagel kept asking me, said, have you made a decision? I said, I'm not making that decision. Well, on our way back to Memphis, Johnny was going to stay with me for a couple of days, and we were going to fish the Mississippi for catfish. He likes to catfish.
Uh-huh.
So about 10 minutes out of Olive Branch, a little FBO, about 20 minutes from my house, we were close on final coming in. Johnny said, look, I'll make it easy. Bill and I are going to catfish for 2 days. If we catch a catfish over 30 pounds, we'll put the Bass Pro in the pyramid.
Uh-huh.
And I said, have you lost your... That's the dumbest statement I believe I've ever heard you make, Johnny Mark.
Uh-huh.
I said, you're going to let a 30-pound catfish make that decision? And he said, well, that'll be the easiest thing to do. And I said, well, I'll say this. It's a good location. 2 major interstates, 40 and 55.
Uh-huh.
Lots of people will see it. You can see it from the air. You can see it from the water. You can see it. Anyway, to make a long story short, we fished that afternoon. We landed, came to my office. We bundled up. It was winter. It was cold. It was, in the,
Y'all go out
30s.
fishing.
It was in the 30s. We went downriver. Didn't do any good. Next morning, spent the night. Got up the next morning. We went upriver. And it was in the 20s that morning, about 28 degrees. We went upriver. It wasn't a drift situation. We anchored. And old Jack Emmett was with us. Good old Jack.
Love Jack.
And
Yep.
one of Johnny's closest friends and a
Right.
dear, dear friend of mine. And I threw out using cut bait. I threw out a rod to the right, and I said, Jack, you watch this. Johnny, you watch that. And I said, don't set the hook. The fish will basically set it itself. We using circle hooks. They'll pull the rod down. Well, we sit there about 20 minutes. Johnny's rod hit. And Johnny runs back. I said, don't do anything. Just let the fish alone. Let the fish will basically set the hook himself. Well, it wasn't a minute. The fish hit again, and Johnny runs back there and jerks, and we missed the fish. And I didn't want to make Johnny feel bad. About 20 minutes later, Jack's rod pulled down, and I said, Jack, leave the rod alone. Leave the rod alone. And he pulled down again, and I said, get it. And Jack pulled the rod up, pulled back, and he caught a 34-pounder.
And I wonder if that catfish realizes he brought the Bass Pro.
Well,
That's pretty
Johnny
good.
picked the phone up, instantly called the mayor, and he said, it's a deal. It's a deal. And
Oh man, I love it.
we kissed the fish, threw the fish back, And if you go into the pyramid now, there's a big catfish mounted, and under the catfish, there's a scripture that reads, "We're going to do it."
We're going
And
to do
so
it. I love that story. That's just stuff that gives you chill bumps, man.
So-
That's priceless.
that catfish, if you catch it, pat it on the head and
Pat him on the
thank
head.
it again for putting a pyramid in Memphis. So
I love it.
It's a wonderful place, and if you come to Memphis,
Yeah,
be sure to visit the
it's
pyramid.
truly a treasure. Big cypress trees in the store. Roland, we'll bring it to you. What do you do in your downtime? What do you
Well,
do at home?
You know what I like to do? We have a lot of hardwoods down in Florida. One is an acacia tree, and they use it for cutting boards and flooring. And I got a whole bunch of it, and I've had it all lumbered. And I make cutting boards and tables, and I also make turkey calls. I just kind of fool around with lumber, and I got a curing deal, and I cure my own lumber, mill it, and cut it every which way, and I don't know, it's just kind of fun to fool with lumber.
That's
and
cool.
just making turkey calls.
Yeah.
That's one of the things.
Hey,
What I
hey,
like to
hey,
tell you, yes.
speaking of turkey calls, I've got something here that Mr. Roland Martin and Jimmy Houston, I'm going to put them on the spot here in a minute.
Okay.
Jimmy, let's answer your question. What do you like to do in your downtime?
Well, Roland does make really good turkey calls, and he's making some for me right now that I'll have when we're down at the Bass Pro Shop PGA tournament in April. We're going to use them there in hunting in Missouri, and he's making them out of some trees that actually the hurricane it hit Naples where Roland lives, knocked down 17 trees in his yard. I called him the next day and I said, "Did you have any damage?" And he said, "We lost 17 trees and 2 pair of underwear."
2 pair of underwear.
His and his
Yeah.
wife's. But he's making me a couple turkey calls right now out of those. So he makes really excellent turkey calls. He sure does. But I'm going to tell you, when I have time off, I go fishing. I mean, it's just that simple. I just spent 54 days on the road from January 18 to March the 13, and when I got back, I had the corporation, the Perry Corporation, come in to fish for 2 days. So I fished with those for 2 days. They left at noon on Thursday, and I ate lunch after they left. I got my wife. We went back out on the lake and caught 25 more bass that evening. So even after all
That's
that,
cool.
I still go fishing. Just pure and simple. I still go fishing.
I think that's neat. Hey, we want to continue to welcome everyone. We're joining in. We're here at the Bassmaster Classic Live. Thanks for coming in to our Facebook page, Bass Pro Shops Facebook page. If you've got questions for the 3 legends of the sport, feel free to ask them. Gene, we're going to take one more from the audience here. What we got?
We do, Tim. We have some more questions in.
All
I
right.
just was wondering, did Jimmy actually say 17 trees and 2 pairs of underwear?
And 2 pair of underwear, I believe.
That was the casualties. Incredible. What is your name?
My name's Riley.
Hey, Riley, thanks for being with us. And where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina.
Great. And who do you want to ask a question of?
I have a question for Roland.
For Roland Martin. What
All
would you
right.
like to ask Roland?
How many fish have you really caught on the helicopter lure?
How many fish on the helicopter lure, Roland? We got a chuckle everywhere, didn't we?
We do have to know that. I'm anxious. The requiring minds need to know.
Fred Ward was a guy that I've known forever down in Phoenix, Arizona.
Looking for a number,
And
Roland.
Fred and I had decided to get this project going. Well, the helicopter lure started to be a hydrilla bait and a lure that we could use for bass in the lily pad.
Weedless.
And Fred was diving in sand in Okeechobee at the time. And we caught thousands of bass in the hydrilla, right on top of the water, and in the lily pads. That was the only place we did it. But
Thousands.
when we signed the contract, we caught thousands of bass. And I came in second at the big tournament that Larry Nixon won, the big that one at Harris Chain, that top Megabass.
Yeah,
the
Megabass.
I came in second. I won $87,000 on throwing that helicopter lure on the milfoil on the side of the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
So it's a legitimate milfoil
Topwater.
hydrilla lily pad.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But
'cause
now,
you fish it
when we
weedless.
started doing the commercial, they said we got to catch tarpon, we got to catch trout, we got to catch tuna fish, we got to catch redfish. So I, like a dummy, I guess I shouldn't have done it. I went out to the ocean and I
Oh, my
started
gosh.
using it for all these other crazy things.
He's still
And
selling it, ain't he?
It kind of blew it off.
1995. But wait, there's more.
Because it really wasn't a lure for that. Like I caught a 100-pound tarpon on it, but it was not a tarpon.
100
102 pounds, to be honest. And now, on the market coming out next week, the Roland Martin
In-
drone.
in three
the
new
Roland
colors.
Martin drone
Where
fishing lure.
can we get some?
We can get
Where
them
can we
at
buy 'em?
Bass Pro Cabela's. Hey, also welcome. We're on the Nitro Facebook page. We're on the Cabela's Facebook page. Just so thankful everybody's here. This is a big platform, guys. We got the numbers are blowing up. We got people are seeing y'all. I hope you're where you're supposed to be. So really
I'm
big
supposed to
deal.
laugh when Bill tells a joke, even
Yeah.
if it ain't funny.
All right, I want to get into the history of
Well,
this
I want to
event.
know where we can get some helicopter lures.
Helicopter lures. I
Call
want them in
1-800
bubblegum.
Bass Pro.
Bubblegum with pink
1-800
glitter.
Bass Pro for helicopter lures and the
Hey,
new
you guys
Roland
see
Martin
how well I'm
drone.
staying on topic here? Have y'all noticed that? All right, listen, we're at the Bassmasters Classic. Your favorite Bassmaster Classic memory that you had competing in the Classic?
I finished 7th.
Finished 7th. What lake was
No,
that?
I don't even remember.
Hey, I remember going back and watching the 1974 Classic that our good friend Tommy Martin won. You guys know who was the commentator? Bill Nance. That was very good, man. I love that. That's some of the first television he did. Really good stuff. 7th place finish. Roland, your favorite
I
Classic
don't remember. I don't even remember.
On the St. Lawrence River,
He overslept one morning of the Classic. That's
Bo
too good.
Dowden won the Classic on the St. Lawrence, and I came in second. But the last day, what was so funny, right on the Murray Island side of the lake, of Port of the Islands, or wherever it's called, there was a crack in a rock, and I shook off a big bass,
Yeah.
about a 5 or 6 pounder in the tournament, or in the pre-practice of the tournament. So I went there the last day, and just as I pulled up to the crack, Bo Dowden was leaving. He had just caught the bass. It was a 6 pounder, and that what won him the tournament. If I'd beat him, here's the deal: if I'd beat him to the crack, I might not even caught the fish, but he probably wouldn't have caught it.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of whoever got there first, because he didn't know the fish was there, I guess, but I did.
Just fishing down through there.
And
yeah.
when I got there, he had just caught the 6-pound bass that won him the tournament, and I came in second.
It's always those stories. I love it. They changed Bo Dowden's life too. And anyway, all right, Jimmy, favorite Classic moment.
I don't know how many Classics is represented by the three of us up here, but amazingly, none of us have ever won the Bassmaster Classic. That's one of the real ironic statistics in bass fishing when you look at the number of Angler of the Year titles, and I loved them all. The early Classics, they only took 24 people out of 300 competitors in a tournament, no co-anglers, and they only took 24, so it was really special to get to go fish that tournament. And in 1976, when I won my first Angler of the Year title, I actually caught the big bass in that particular Classic. I finished, I think, 4th or 5th place in the Classic, but the cool thing is that we had a big front change in there, and the fish moved from out in the grass back to some duck blinds. It was in about 6 or 8 inches or 10 inches of water. My buddy Jack Haynes from Louisiana won that tournament fishing the exact same area where I caught fish the first day and the big fish of the tournament. And Jack won it by simply moving into really, really shallow water. So as I look back on that, and we obviously all look back on the Classics that we lost, because quite honestly, we lost every single one of them that we fished.
Uh-huh.
And but that's a cool Classic. That's great to remember that. That's before most people were born, except Bill and Roland. They were like, they were pretty old.
Yeah, they were well. Go ahead, Bill.
Let me tell you though, Ken Duke reminded me yesterday morning
Ken's a big
of
historian.
the most memorable Classic. I caught a limit of bass all 3 days at Clark Hill. And I led the tournament, and I was coming in the last day of the tournament, and I was in first place. And everybody was saying, hey, well, congratulations, you got this one won. And there was one boat that had not weighed in, and it was Rail Breckenridge.
Wow.
And I was in first place, and I was, and I was jumping up and down. I was pretty happy about it. And all of a sudden, we look up, and Rail broke down. And Roland was pulling Rayo in. Remember that? And he pulled him in and got him in just in the nick of time.
Wow.
And Rayo weighed in and won the tournament.
Ain't that amazing?
Yeah.
How intertwined and all the stories that go together. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to, we're going to get back on the Classic before we leave. I think Edwin was in second place as of just a little while ago, and actually having another good day. I want to get y'all's perspective on that. But before that, I talked about this yesterday. I got into the sport of turkey hunting because I went with Roland Martin. He got me hooked on it, my passion. And I know we're getting into turkey season. I rounded up one from a local here. I don't even know, but I like to watch people not use calls or use calls for the first time. We're going to have a little contest between these two. What do you think? All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys one chance.
Don't give it to me.
Bill said don't give it to me. I know the two turkey hunting gurus. I'm going to give y'all one chance to do the best cut that you can do for about 10 seconds. And you guys let me know who sounded the best. But we got some turkey hunting fans in here. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Roland, you're first up. All right, here we go.
Now, a cut is a hen that is really excited,
She's
wants to
feeling
get
it.
bred, and a cut is the most explosive thing that she does. And it's a very high-pitched, hard-cutting thing that gets the gobbler really going. And here's how it starts.
Hey, that's pretty good. All right, Mr. Jimmy Houston.
Okay, that's really good right there, and that works pretty much all time of the day. In the middle of the day when the turkeys aren't gobbling, I do a lot of walking and talking is what I call it. Well, I walk and talk all the time, even when I'm by myself, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is a call that you can use. It's kind of an extenuation of what Roland was using right there to get a turkey to gobble in the middle of the day. It works really good between 11 and 1 o'clock, and you really make a lot of noise with it. I use a little bit bigger call than this. I use a longer call called a boat paddle, as a matter of fact. And it'll make them gobble in the middle of the day from way, way off. If you get them to gobble 11 or 12 or 1 o'clock, that turkey's fixing to die.
All right, here we go. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, what you got? All right, we're going to give a cheer for Roland and Jimmy. All right,
chalk.
Roland Martin. All right, Jimmy Houston. Jimmy, turkey calling champion here today.
Roland and I hunt together a lot, and I got to tell you, this guy's one of the best turkey hunters and best callers around, and we've killed our limit of birds many times in many states. We're getting ready to hunt together in Missouri coming up here, right around that PGA tournament. We're going to go hunt on one of Johnny Morse's golf courses.
That'll be good. That'll be
the only
good.
guys he lets hunt's me and Roland.
All right, hey y'all, Jimmy.
He doesn't know it yet. Don't tell him.
Don't tell him, but that's where we're going. Hey guys, Jimmy has got to go to another place, but we're going to stick here with Roland and Bill. And guys, stick with us on the Cabela's Facebook page, Bass Pro Shops as well. Jimmy, thank you so much. You guys give Jimmy a big hand.
Thank y'all. Have fun here at the Bassmaster Classic.
Hey, all right, real quick, Bill and Roland, I know you guys have got to get other places too. I want to get a little input of what you guys foresee happening. Obviously, we're probably a few weeks away from these fish moving up on the beds. Roland, what is your guess as to what's happening out there today?
Well, for me, anytime that the water temperature is just below 60, it's that high 50 thing. To me, that's pre-spawn, and it's jig time, and it's the time that I've caught my biggest strings ever. It's just before the spawn and the pre-spawn fish for me, because you'll find these females staging like at the mouth of a cove, all ganged up like on a point, and sometimes you can find a whole limit in just one little point just before the spawning area. So to me, I look for like a big jig bite this time of year. That's one of the things I do.
Yeah, I remember you led at Table Rock just about 10 years ago, almost won that event on a very similar deal. Bill, one of my favorite things about you, I'll stop by Bill's office traveling a lot, coming through Tennessee. You get to talking fishing with him, and you're going to be there while he's just as passionate about it. Both these guys, that's my favorite thing. Bill, real quick, what do you think pre-spawn technique is happening out here, and what would you be trying if you were out here on Lake Hartwell?
I would be looking for the warmest water I
Mike,
could find.
Mike. There we go.
No, the water temperature controls fish behavior more than any single thing. It's like Roland said. I would be trying to find the warmest water I could find. And if you look at the nighttime temperatures versus the daytime temperatures, it's cold water nights or cold nights versus the daytime temperatures. You get up in the morning, it's cold, And by the time your warming temperatures are by mid-afternoon to late afternoon, then the photo time is a short time through the day. The nighttime temperatures start to chill off, and what that daytime temperatures warm the water, your nighttime temperatures offset that and chill it back down. So what I've been experiencing, I've been down in Florida for the past 2 weeks, and we've had temperatures up in the 70s, but at nights the temperatures drop back down into the 40s. So we get warm temperatures by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 5 o'clock, temperatures start to drop, and all night long, those fish move up, and by morning time, they've moved back out and suspend, but they're suspending in the mouth of these canals, the mouth of the coves, but in protected type areas. And where they do, they just move out, and then by afternoon, they move back in.
Yeah.
And to the shallow type areas.
Mm-hmm.
And by afternoon, they kind of move up on top of the grass, on top of the hydrilla.
Right.
And along the edge of the grass line drops.
Yeah.
But what I'd be looking for fish would be the warmer water areas, definitely.
Warmer water areas. You know, and we heard...
And
we
2 or
saw,
3 degrees can make a major difference.
Major difference. And we saw a lot of that yesterday. A lot of guys talking about catching their fish later in the day. Those cold temperatures going to make it a little tougher in the morning. Great answer. Gino, we got one more question from the audience here.
We do, Tim.
All right.
Can you guys hear us? All right. What is your name?
My name is Shane.
And where are you from, Shane?
Pickens, South Carolina.
Great. And who's your question for?
My question would be for Roland.
For Roland.
Yeah. Right. My question is, you being considered, as a fishing legend, over the years, how have you handled the pressure with all the eyes on you? And
all right. I'm going to repeat that, Roland, just so our Facebook audience can hear. The question was, you being a fishing legend, doing all of you done, what did you do throughout your career to alleviate some of that stress and pressure to continue your success? Is that right? All right.
One of the greatest ways to work with pressure is to put yourself on the line on a daily basis being a guide. Now, I was a guide at Santee Cooper for many years, and I would actually give a deal where if I didn't catch fish, I didn't charge. And so when you put yourself, you've got to put pressure on yourself. I mean, you can't just go out and just a free lark on a tournament or a free lark on a guide trip. You have to make a challenge of it each and every day. And as a guide, a really top-notch guide, you're guaranteeing a catch of fish. And when you come to a tournament, you're guaranteeing that you got to catch fish again. So I put myself to the challenge. I'm always forcing myself to produce because it's necessary. I mean, it's just not a walk in the park. I mean, every day that I'm out on the water, I'm trying to catch all the fish I can catch. It's a major deal, and every day it's just not a holiday. Every day is to produce.
All right. We've got Ish Monroe, guys, in here. Everybody give Ish a big hand. Part of the Bass Pro Shop. Ish, hey, you got a question? Hey,
I have a question.
Watching on Facebook, Ish Monroe. Tell them, hey, Ish. Also,
hey, everybody.
We got anybody dropping into Bass Pro Cabela's. All right, Ish.
I was wondering when I can get Roland and Bill in the same boat with me at the same time. That's my question.
Hey, now I filmed with Ish. He's great.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
He's a super frog fisherman. He's a super jig fisherman. We had one of the best times ever filming out there at Clear Lake. And that was really good.
You got that big one on the crankbait? Oh my
man,
God, it was so much
fun. We did everything. He's a very versatile fisherman, by the way, and he's won tournaments on Okeechobee, as well as you've won tournaments on Okeechobee.
He caught my fish.
I've won tournaments on Okeechobee. So anyway, Ish is a real fisherman.
Good teacher. That's the beauty of you guys as well. Ish, thank you for stopping by, man.
Yeah, came to hang out.
Awesome. Big part of the Bass Pros. You guys check that out as well. Airing on the Outdoor Channel. Have a lot of fun with that. Let's stick on television a little bit. You guys have been doing your shows now, 30 plus years. Two of the most recognized guys in outdoor television. Bill, I believe you told me yesterday you're doing 39 original episodes a year. Tell me a little bit what goes into the thought process when you're doing a television production to make these fans watch your show, which is what you've done so well.
Well, our strength.
Mike,
I forget. Our strength, I use a lavalier.
You use the lav mic. That's right.
Keeping it right here, and I forget talking to the sun. We've got the one thing I've learned is it's not the amount of fish you can catch in 30 minutes of television. We're not trying to impress anybody how many fish we can catch in 30 minutes of television. You can actually, if you look, you only see probably a fourth of the fish that are actually caught. We try to pick the best action and the best shots and use those shots. But as I've said before, I think what people want, when you can entertain and educate at the same time, you've got the best part of both worlds.
Right.
But our strength in 47 years of doing outdoor television shows, I think what people want to see is they want to be educated. They want to know why you're using this particular bait, how you're using this particular bait, why you're using this particular bait at this particular time of the year,
Right.
at this particular location. And the presentation, why you're using the presentation. And we relate to that, as we talked about before.
Right.
How to fish particular baits, summer, fall, winter, spring, cold water, hot water, muddy water, clear water, in a lowland, middling, highland type lake, with different rod actions, with different weight lines, as I said, in different water clarities.
Yeah.
And we go into all of that. We talk about the different types of, and we point out the anatomy of fish. One thing I learned from my granddaddy, who I admired so much, he taught me more about the anatomy of fish. He was a doctor. And the importance of sight, the importance of hearing. And the first bass I ever caught, I caught it on a jitterbug. And I bought that jitterbug for 75 cents. And back in those days when you bought a fishing lure, you didn't have a Bass Pro Shop, you didn't have a Walmart, you didn't have the places you bought a fishing lure was at a hardware store. And I used to go in this one hardware store in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and they had 2 or 3 Hawaiian wigglers and arbogast baits is what was the bait back then. And I saw this one jitterbug, a frog-colored jitterbug, and that bait is still made today and sold today. And it just impressed me. My grandmother gave me 75 cents, and I bought that bait. And I went to a lake just south of Tullahoma, Tennessee, and I had me a Shakespeare direct drive reel and braided line with a piece of catgut we call monofilament today, tied to that. And my granddaddy would fish for red ears, and my grandmother would sit on a quilt and crochet.
That's
And
awesome.
I walked down on a point, and I threw that topwater bait out, and it hit the water. I saw a 2-pound bass and a pound bass swimming along together. And when that bait hit the water, those 2 bass stopped. And that impressed me because they heard that bait hit the water.
They had
And
their back
I
turned
thought I
and
made a
still
pretty
did,
accurate cast because the bait hit about 20 feet from the fish.
Right.
But what impressed me, they heard the bait, and when I moved the bait, they both turned in the direction of the bait. And as I moved the bait closer, I started moving the bait, they started swimming in the direction of the bait. But the bigger fish was the more aggressive fish. And as he started moving to the bait, I'd stop the bait and they'd stop. And I'd start the bait, they'd start moving to the bait. And they couldn't see the bait, but they could hear the bait.
They could feel it, yeah.
And I could remember the things he talked about hearing. And I'd reel it and it'd blah, blah, blah. And finally, when I stopped it, they'd stop. I'd start it, they'd start. And I moved it a little closer. And this 2-pounder moved up. And all of a sudden, as I started again, he made contact, eye contact with the bait. And he just charged and blasted it ahead of the pound fish. And that started my career. And the most amazing thing I'd ever seen, that this fish hit a piece of plastic and aluminum. And when
It
I
wasn't
reeled
real, right.
I reeled the fish 2 or 3 turns and just threw the rod down, grabbed the line. I was 7 years old, and I well roped the fish in.
That's awesome.
But what amazed me was the fact that the fish could hear, the fish could see, and I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about anatomy, about sound. And he'd talk about wading the creeks, Mulberry Creek, and rocks, movement of rocks as you waded along. And I'd watch sunfish in the creek, and smallmouth, and how they would move, and I'd shift my feet and watch how they'd move and how they'd turn and look back at you.
Right.
And I learned a lot growing up about the anatomy, and I passed a lot of that along through the education of shows that we did, and just stuff that I learned through the years, and I've learned those are things that people wanted to hear.
I think the big thing with that, I love hearing those stories of the memories that gets etched, and I guarantee you, Bill Dance Outdoors came about because of that bite. I mean, seriously, how that gets etched inside of you of that moment. And I tell people all the time, you know, we all have people to take us fishing. I love seeing the little kids out here, and every time I see a parent that has kids, I tell them thanks for bringing them. And I tell people we all have parents, grandparents that had us out, and I always challenge folks, get your kids to invite a friend to come along when you go out fishing, because you never know when that's going to get inside them, and that moment is going to trigger that they're going to spend the rest of their life fishing, just like what Bill had happen in that woman. I want to ask you that same question in just a moment, Roland, but I first want to tell everyone to come back here at 2:15. I believe we're going to have Mr. Rick Lund, 4-time Bassmaster Classic champion. We're going to have him on live right here with the Cabela's page, the Nitro page, the Bass Pro Shops page. But Roland, as we wrap up, we got just a few minutes left here. Tell us the same question, your television career and what got you started in it.
Well, of course, you know, having the tournament success was a big part of everything, because Bill started off as a top-notch tournament fisherman and decided that he found the springboard of opportunity. That opened up the doors for other sponsors and that television. Actually, if you started really your television career because of the success you had on the tournament trail, and I had the same opportunity. I followed right after Bill. Bill was the leading money winner and had won the most tournaments. And about the time I really got cranking, Bill decided to kind of get out of the game and not fish the tournaments, and that's when I kind of went ahead and set a bunch of records at that point. If Bill had stayed in the game, I'm sure you'd have set a lot of records that I set, you know, but the point is you kind of quit early. But that was a springboard of opportunity, the tournament success. From there, I took the teaching route. My mother was a teacher. I was a high school teacher for a year. I taught algebra and science. I also was in the military. I was a rifle range officer and taught train fire in the military. So my whole career was teaching. And when I found the pattern approach, and it's much what Bill's talking about as far as education, my little twist to it was establishing a pattern, the exact set of order and cover conditions. And so as I talk about the techniques on television, I'm thinking pattern too, and I try to explain the different parts of a pattern. And it's just simple education. It's just simple how-to format, and that's kind of my format. Oh, I'll make a joke every once in a while, but really my forte is explaining stuff on television. It's just simple. How did the fish bite? How do they react to a lure? And it's just my observations, and it's kind of easy when you really see all the parts of the puzzle in a pattern. When you see everything that's to do with the pattern, it's easy to explain it, and that's what I do on television.
Yeah, I really appreciate the education from these guys, and the energy that they have is really what has transcended that they did from tournament fishing into the television careers. I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done for all of us to be able to make a living like we do. And one of my favorite parts of being associated with a great company, Bass Pro and Cabela's, is a lot of the things we get to do together like this. Gene, thank you for the questions, and thanks our fans. We appreciate you guys as well. So, Bill, all right. Hey, you guys be sure and tune in back here at 2:15. We'll be right back with Rick Lund. See you guys. Thank y'all.